Hello and welcome to the Phase 2 Reading and Phonics workshop for parents. At Elmhurst, we are aiming for every child to be a successful reader, and this starts now in our early years classes. At Elmhurst, we use the Little Wandle Letters and Sounds Revised Phonics Scheme and the Big Cat Collins Reading Scheme, and these are very much closely aligned. Children move through the Big Cat Collins reading stages as they learn their Little Wandle Letters and Sounds in phonics. As we are now at the end of Autumn 1, your child should have moved on to the Phase 2 books. But we do understand that every child is unique and may develop at a different pace to others. Children who are not yet ready to move on to Phase 2 are given additional support with their reading and phonics to enable them to keep up. You can also help them at home by accessing the YouTube videos here, where key sounds and the blending of them to make words are taught. If you do have any questions though, or any queries, or would like to know more information about how to support your child at home, please don't hesitate to ask your child's class teacher. So in Phase 2, children will be learning these sounds. The next challenge is to use these to read, and we call this blending. So for example, the s, a, t sounds can be blended together to read the word sat. They will also learn the plural ending in words and more tricky words in Autumn 2. Alongside their learning to pronounce and read the Phase 2 sounds, adults will begin to encourage children to write them, and this will aid their written work and spelling in the future. We call this spelling of words segmenting. Handwriting skills are taught explicitly in reception every day. Children will complete fine motor activities to strengthen their fine motor skills prior to learning letter formation. Pegs, Play-Doh, threading are all great examples of fine motor activities, ones which you could do at home as well. Children have started to learn to form pre-writing shapes, and you can see these on the screen here. Pre-writing shapes are used in all letters and numbers and therefore must be learned first. Once children can form these shapes, they'll begin to learn their letter and number formation in the explicit handwriting sessions. At Elmhurst, we follow the Little Wandle letter formation programme. In reception, children learn non-cursive handwriting, and this is where letters are not joined up. Children are taught how to join their letters further up the school. They are supported to form their letters using a formation phrase, and you can access this here, following the link on the page to support letter formation at home. They do link to the ones they learn in phonics, so the picture here you see of the snake, they learn in handwriting as the exact same information and the same picture they use in phonics. During all writing activities, children are encouraged to reread their writing out loud. Each week we will post on Class Dojo to let you know which phonemes and tricky words your children have learned in phonics that week. This video will include some example of words you can read at home with your child, and we have also sent home a Phase 2 grapheme mat, and this can be used to help your children pronounce their sounds at home. A nice activity, maybe to have this grapheme mat ready when you're watching the videos, and as I see the video on the as I see the sound on the video, they can find it on their grapheme mat too. There are many ways to make blending fun alongside just reading their reading books. You could find letters and sounds in the environment. You could read a range of print in the house or in the outdoor environment, for example, when in the shop. You could build words with magnetic letters or write the sounds on paper or post-it notes. You can play games with sounds and words such as Snap or Bingo, and you can access some online resources too. So how to teach reading with Phase 2 books. Your children will be sent home with fiction and non-fiction books. And we suggest at the beginning, you spend the first day looking at the front cover and predicting what might happen, have a discussion and think of their phonic sounds. So start by looking at the front cover, model reading the title and make predictions about what might happen. Ask questions while ensuring the discussion remains conversation-like. And a good way to do this is by making real-life links to their own experiences. So, for example, if I had this book with my child, I'll be asking questions such as, what do you think they are doing? We throw rubbish in the bin too. Where are the family? I remember when I went to a tip. And what do you think might happen in the story? Why? And give your own opinions too. So I think they're going to throw more rubbish in the bin. It's good that they hear you share your ideas as well as listening to theirs. On the inside cover, there'll be the phase 2 phonemes that are in the book. You can practice these before reading the book. Check your child's understanding of the words and link to real life objects and experiences. So for example, they can read the word in, tin, and maybe you go to the cupboard and find a tin to help them understand the meaning of that word. And then we suggest you take a picture walk through the book, look at the pictures, develop vocabulary and explain what the objects are. It's important that we are using the pictures, and so it might be that on the first day you don't read the book, you just talk about it, develop their understanding and their vocabulary. The next day you then read the text. Encourage your child to sound out each word as they read. So for example, on this page will be a, t, I, n, tin, p, a, n, pan. Then read the sentence back again, a tin pan. Encourage your child to read the whole sentence back without sounding out, and ask them to read any labels. For example, on this page, it will be at, mat. And it's important that once they've sounded it out, they need to blend it together. T, I, n, tin. Repeat these back as a list, mat, tin and tap, and then encourage your child to repeat it again. The more practice they can do with this, the better their fluency will become. They will, however, find this a bit difficult at the beginning. So it's all about keeping that practice going, ongoing exposure to these words. And if they do find it more difficult, think about only reading part of the book and continue it the next day. Once you have read the whole book, we suggest you look at the comprehension questions at the end. And also reread the text again. So again, by practicing and reading it again, it will help them develop their fluency and their understanding. Praise words that are read as a whole and help support the words where they need to still sound it out and blend together. Once completed, like I say, ask those comprehension questions at the back of the book. Many of our books have got a phonics activity at the end, an I Spy game, and we do encourage you to look at this with your child. Hunt for the initial sounds. How many can you find? How many can I find? Make it a bit of a game, fun and competitive. For example, this one here, the phoneme in the magnifying glass is the t. I'll be thinking of which words I can find with the t. Teddy, turtle, train. It's thinking about all those sounds, all those objects that begin with that sound. With non-fiction books, I would start the same. So start by looking at the front cover, model reading the title and making predictions. Again, ask those questions, but link to real life experiences. So for example, what do you think this fact book is about? And I wonder how you know that. Where is the boy? Oh, he's in the sand pit. I remember when we went to the beach and played in the sand, you built some sand castles, didn't you? Again, it's that conversation-like and linking to real experiences if we can. Practice reading the phase 2 phonemes and words on the inside cover. Check your child's understanding of these words and link to real life objects and experiences. Again, take a picture walk through the book, look at the pictures, develop vocabulary and explain what the objects are, and really enjoy that conversation together and developing that understanding and vocabulary. The next day, read the text again and encourage your child to point to the sound and blend to read the words in the book. So on this page, we're looking at the labels, p, a, n, pan. Read a word or sentence back to the child as a whole, so pan. Or the child might say ip, dip, in, a, t, tin. They could read it just like that, blending their sounds, and you could read it back, dip in a tin. Encourage your child to read and repeat the whole sentence back without sounding out. Again, developing that fluency, and then start reading. Point out any labelled pictures and their captions, and ask questions and encourage your child to use the pictures to find the answer. Who's on this page? You might say a boy and a nan. Oh yeah, I can see the nan, and that's where you could point, or they could point to where the nan is. Following completion of the whole book, develop reading fluency and understanding. So read it again and try and encourage your child to do it without sounding out. Finish the text by discussing what happened in the story, make links to real life experiences where possible. So for example, I remember when we went to the garden and had a picnic. If the weather's nice, you could get out there and have a picnic on that day. Again, play that sound game at the end if they got it. So the sound again is a t. What can you see in the picture that has a t, tractor, t, teddy, t, turtle? And again, turn into a composition, make it as fun as possible. There are often the comprehension questions at the back, and you can extend your child's language by putting their sentences together. So you could ask the question, what was Dan sitting in? Your child could say a sandpit. You could put those sentences together to model a longer sentence. Dan was sitting in a sandpit. We are really keen here at Elmhurst to develop reading for pleasure, and we do suggest you try and do that as much as home as possible. Suggestions could be reading a book from home, reading a book from school or a book from the library, a magazine, phonic words, or any other print around the house. At school, your child will get one book each week to read at home. Please bring the book and the reading log into school every day. Books will be changed every Friday. And we do ask you to record reading in their records. Reading at home will be celebrated on our class displays and with postcards. We will listen to your child read at least twice a week, either one-to-one or in small groups. In addition to this, both classes will have a daily story session to promote reading for pleasure, as well as weekly visits to the library. Your child will be learning their phase 2 sounds this term, and then next term we'll be moving on to phase 3, and this will be covered in our reading workshop in January. Thank you very much for listening. If you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to speak to Miss Bruce or Miss Woodworth, and enjoy reading at home.